killing
live.
me.
All
Oh,
right,
sorry.
we are live. Welcome to welcome
Sorry,
to
screwed that one up.
Utter Chaos, episode 11, impromptu with my buddy Drunk 3PO, graciously accepting uh, the invite so soon. I've had problems planning these as well as I can, but yeah, how's it going, Drunk?
Dude, it's going good, man. I can't complain. Had a good week. I've had a good week. I've got a new troll, and that's fun. And
On Twitter?
you know, yeah, and I really think it's somebody that we know. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, they watched the whole. I saw yesterday on Josiah's channel. They were watching the whole stream and just like, "You guys are awful. Your tweets are stupid. You're not even talking about my tweet." And it's like, oh,
Yeah, I think it's someone we know. I think someone's just bored. They want to have a little fun
yeah, that's what I
at
think.
this point. Because usually, like, they'll get to the point where they'll get like really nasty. You know.
Yeah, they're being pretty tame. I think. So
That's
I guess because tomorrow we both got plans. What
Yes.
are you doing tomorrow? Just to key everyone in that's not aware.
Oh, I don't know. I think I'm gonna eat an apple. I got some Fruity Pebbles cereal, which I'm really looking forward to opening that box in the morning. And I've got Endgame tickets at 6 o'clock.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. You were talking. You were talking about um. Oh dang, what was it? Oh, the yeah, on Josiah, you're talking about the 59 hours watching all of the Marvel marathon. I think that's what my tickets are. My tickets are the premiere of Endgame at 5 o'clock. So I'll be beating you an hour, my friend.
Really? Well,
Yeah,
that ticket was like 100 some dollars. So
I don't know. Where I live, it was
really,
$18.
for
Yeah.
3 days of movies?
Oh no, no, no. Sorry, no. I meant just the end game. I was like,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
yeah, but
The
it's like,
59-hour Marvel movie marathon was like $100, and you get like a collector's cup. It's always fun to show your friends. Check out my collector's cup. I didn't shower for 3 days. I pooped my pants, and I lived off popcorn, which probably took 12 years off my life. But here's the collector's cup. You know?
yeah. I remember when I was a kid, probably the first thing that really signaled I love theater was my dad. My dad's weird. He's ex military. He's 20-year Air Force supply guy, and he had me right at the end of his career before he retired. So I never grew up with the military. He never talked about it afterwards. So when I went in the military, it was just blind, just a kind of a romantic idea. I want to go to war. I want to do like Black Hawk Down shit. And when I was about 12 or so, maybe earlier, maybe like 9, 9 or 10, we went. He's weird, okay? He's a cheapskate,
Oh.
but he ends up paying more or breaking even. So I used to be from what do you call it? Central South Oklahoma, and he picked me up one time, and we drove 3 hours south, practically to Dallas, because the tickets for the movie theater was cheaper. So this is like his line of thinking is like, oh, I'll save money if I go to Dallas and get cheaper tickets. Like, you spent the gas that you would have saved.
Yeah, I know
You just
people
pay a
like
little,
that.
yeah,
I know
yeah.
people like that, and I go, "Your brain is not working properly. You're
But
actually
anyway,
spending more time." Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, brother. I hear you loud and clear.
we went down there almost to Dallas, and we watched uh what was it? We watched Spider Man, and then he made me go see Attack of the Clones, because when Spider Man came out, I didn't care at all about Star Wars. And then like next day we saw like Some of All Fears and Undercover Brother. It was like a day. It was like a 2 day, like a twofer both days, and it was just amazing. Like, oh my god, I saw, and like we went multiple times to the McKinney Theater north of Dallas to see cheaper ticketed movies. I remember I saw School of Rock, and of course, it didn't land with me necessarily. It was okay, but I'd easily forgot it. But then I got older in high school, I got into guitar. I'm like, oh my god, School of Rock! I watch that every day. So I kind of
Yeah, it's amazing.
cherish the theater experience retroactively. But the reason I was bringing that up to begin with was I can't imagine living off of popcorn multiple days because
Yeah, it
I
would be
had,
awful.
I was a fat kid, so I had 2 large popcorns over like 2 movies, and go in the bathroom after that. I can't
No,
imagine
like
multiple days of
nacho
that.
cheese and soda and popcorn and like chocolate candy. Your body will just go. I don't care how old you are. Your body's gonna be like, what, what have you done? What have you done? And I'm about to backfire it all out, one hole or another. Just get ready. So it's like,
Right. So yeah, before we continue, I want to address the chat. Hello, Goldfinger. Hello, Rosie Wren. Hello, Drunk 3PO. It's odd seeing you in the chat.
helping the like button, baby. Helping the like button. That's all. Just trying to help the like button as best we can. And everyone's gone quiet. I don't know why. Are you
It's just
back?
because I got here and nobody knows what to say.
I think Angus went dark, people. Does anybody know what happened to Angus? He's
I didn't hear no
gone.
sirens.
He's gone dark. I hear like wind blowing and all kinds of like, wow, what a live stream.
Yeah.
What do you guys like? What kind of shenanigans are y'all up to?
Well, I'm actually. I thought the live stream was for 2 hours from now, so I just got off work and I'm actually road.
Remphamus, don't let Remphamus get you too.
Yeah. So and I'm living out my own grandpa story 3PO. I walk like 5 miles back and forth from work, and then I work all day, and then I just like to go home and sit down and have a beer.
What's your beer of choice?
If I have the right to choose, I like Pike Kilt Lifter. It's one of those microbrews that comes out of here. But times are tight, man, and I went and grabbed one of those gas station.
Oh
it's
man,
called
it's not
Earthquake. Yeah,
it's not Pabst, is it? Can't have
no.
the Bush beer either. Bush beer is for, that's a depression beer. When I'm depressed, you got to get Bush beer. But no, dude, I'm with you. I got we have these little stores where I live. They're called Castle, and you just drive in, and they have all it's like a 7-Eleven thing, but you drive in it, and you could pick out. So whatever they have on sale, and they just happen to have Coors Light on sale. So I'm like, I got the 18 bottles of Coors Light on sale.
Drunk.
So
crazy.
yeah, buddy, we were covering for you. We thought
No, that was great. That was great.
You.
Thank you. I don't know what's happened. I was just sitting here and reading the chat, and yeah. Anyway, I'm not sure where I left off. People hearing me. So
you said drunk. It's weird seeing you in the chat, and that was it. And then we went through a tornado, and with and then you're back. We were talking about beer, so pick up where you left off, brother. He's gone again.
He can't. So whatever he has to say is so important that
Immortal. What are you doing? You got some kind of okay, I see your avatar is like a brain, a crystal skull. So you're doing something to our man Angus here. Let's mess this up. Yeah,
I'm pulling rank. Yeah.
Micah, it's the Beverage Castle. The Beverage Castle. That's right. I have one right near my home. Snow Dub. My beer of choice is Corona. Honestly, people think it's kind of a crappy Mexican beer, but I don't know why. When it's like 150 degrees outside, and you come in, there's nothing. I don't know. For me, there's nothing like a Corona. That's just how it is. So
a little piece of lime. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I know. It's like it's people that live down south. They love Coronas, I guess, because beach beer type. Yeah, the little lime.
Well, yeah, they like to wear their sun visor and their eyeglasses and their flip flops and walk around like, hey man.
Yeah, that's what I do. But this month is all Coors Light because it was on sale. So
yeah,
whatever.
well, I tend to favor the red ales. Pike Kilt Lifter is a Scottish ale, which
good
is more
stuff, man.
Malty. Yeah. Plus, it's like a 6.5 ABV, so it lights you up pretty quick. Like you get 2 or 3 of them in you, and your kilt has lifted, sir.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
Micah's a Florida boy like me. He says, I don't own a pair of sneakers. That's right. It's weird when people visit me in Florida, they're like, dude, all you're wearing is slides, like flip flops. I'm like, everybody in Florida wears flip flops. Preachers preaching flip flops here. I mean, even with a suit on, I mean, it's just like they're everywhere. School teachers, everybody wears flip flops in Florida because it's so freaking hot in the summer. And people, like, when my parents come and visit, they're like, do you have any shoes? Yeah, these are shoes in Florida. They're designer flip flops. Enjoy.
Well, and you certainly don't have to dox yourself. But years ago, I lived in a Tampa St. Pete area, and
Oh no, I'm Orlando, so I know that area well.
gotcha. Okay.
Hey guys.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, yeah, I'm using my backup account. I don't know what's going on. It's my headphones and my the port in my phone or in my computer. So I'll be using my phone.
It was Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. Like
yeah, I'll be using my phone. So sorry if you get any pickup of like my kids and their stupid shows in the background. But this is what we'll have
It's all good, man.
Make do with. All right. So I was saying hello. Bianca fights the zombies. That's when I lost connection on my headphones. Love you in the comments on my videos. Thank you for supporting. Micah Donovan, Man of Sex. I don't know if it's you or not, but I volunteered a picture of myself wearing Captain Marvel mask for McDonald's. And I'm like, hey, War Campaign, meme me, because it's kind of part of initiation and making fun of yourself. And yeah, you did a pretty good one with me behind Renfamous while she's pregnant at a picnic, and someone's upping Kevin Smith's leg.
Wow.
Let me see. Truth Apocalypse. Hello. Snow Dub Entertainment. I'll be seeing you shortly on Mary's stream. Frank the Bunny 666. Awesome name. Let's see where else we at. Anyone else I missed? No. Darthy X. Hi. All right, we're caught up. So yeah, we were talking about bad diet from multiple days at a theater. What are you looking forward to the most? Drunk and more you can add as well. With Endgame coming up tomorrow.
I hope they close it. I hope they close it right. I am expecting people to die, and I don't know who. My theory's been going. It was Captain America, then it was Iron Man. Now it's like I'm kind of like on Thor for some reason. I don't know why. I know it's a weird theory, but I figure if they're gonna kill off Thor, he really has nothing. Like, what else does he have to live for? His brother's dead. His parents are dead. His homeland's dead. Like, everybody that he loves is gone. There's really nothing else. What's he gonna do? He's like done. And the rumors are so heavy about the female Thor coming up, in the next phase. So I'm like, I'm expecting that. So I just hope it's a great film. I hope it's a great film, and I can hold my urine. That's what I want to make sure I can hold my urine for 3.5 hours. And that's it. I just want a good film, and I want to pee my pants. If I can accomplish those two things, it's going to be a great day tomorrow. It's going to be a great day.
Yeah, no, it was funny you said that. I was also laughing at Man of Sex. He said, "You ghost dogged me, dude." I'll send you. I'll tell you after stream because I know some kids might come on you. Come to this stream.
Whoa.
Poor choice words. Yeah, might come to the stream since you're here. But I'll definitely tell you off air the backstory to Ghost Dog you before we go to Mary's stream. But yeah, Immortal. What are you looking forward to with Endgame?
Well, and this is funny because I kind of addressed this in that video that we're working on. But the thing that I'm grateful for is that Endgame was shot prior to Captain Marvel. So from what I understand, a lot of the self-righteousness that Brie Larson brought to her role, well, I'm sure there's going to be a tiny bit of that, but it's not going to be as loud in this movie as it was, regardless of what her effect on taking down Thanos is going to be. I'd like to see how they do it. I've heard a couple of rumors that involve perhaps time travel or the micro universe. So I'm excited to see that. But yeah, I agree with 3PO. I have the sense that we're going to lose some Avengers for real. And I think the whole like snap thing, once they figure out how to start to combat Thanos, a lot of those people are going to come back, if not everybody. But then we're going to lose them for real. So that's kind of where I'm thinking that goes without spoiling anything that's going to be coming out of this video that I'm making for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I watched a couple things about spoilers, and I'm definitely a bit. If you know me, you know what big draw there is in Infinity War, and there's not much of that in this one. So it's like, that's already a downer for me because much love for the Avengers movies. Infinity War is like, and the anticipation for Endgame is like sparked my interest again in the MCU to binge them and stuff. It's gotten to a point now where it's like I have this thing, I have this character, and now it's like we're gonna revert back to kind of what most people love about the about the MCU. And it's like I can't go back. So this might be, besides I guess being a reviewer, it's kind of like emotionally me checking out of the MCU too. From what I hear though, I'll tell people there's not much, if at all, wokeness, but expect it to come in the future.
Yeah, I'll be touching on that in the video. And again, I don't want to like blow my wad right now, but we're gonna cover all that. Yeah. Hi, baby Angus. How you doing? Yeah.
Unfortunately, the earliest ticket I got was at like one of those. I guess you'd call them a C+ ticket movie theater. So it's
You
just
should
like,
sell it on eBay for $7,000.
dude, if someone would have given me $100, I would have sold it. Put it that way. But it was like,
I saw that video.
I would prefer the reclining seats and the IMAX. So I'll have to, if I love the movie, if I love it, I'll go. I'll wait a couple days and go see it in the IMAX, and and do it right. But this one is just like these. I know the theater I'm going to, and it's like the seats don't recline. There's probably gum on the chair. The popcorn's been sitting there.
And it's gonna smell like piss after you leave.
Yeah, it's one of those theaters, and it was like, it's the only one I can get. And like, when I told my buddies, I'm like, hey, we're going to this theater. They're all like, dude, we're gonna get shot. Like leaving in the middle of the night. Like, we're gonna have to bring our armory. I'm like, oh well.
Well, you know what I'm doing? I like to drink, but this is a 3-hour movie, so I got to drink a little bit before the movie and bring my flask in. So,
are you gonna get your tobacco in, Angus? You gonna get your tobacco in?
Yeah, I always bring a can of snuff when I go to the movies. It's not a problem, especially like later in the day. Like, my son has to feel because like they don't do it, but it's like I'm putting nuclear waste and other chemicals in my mouth, so it's not crazy to grab like a random cup or bottle that I rinse out from like the trash, like the top of the trash. Like, I'm recycling, I'm not wasting something new, I try to be cognizant of that.
When you mutate, make sure that you use your powers for good.
Well, no, it's just like, when you've been in the army, you've been in Afghanistan and seen how like those people live and they're generally fine. And then, you're dipping stuff with like 3,000 chemicals in it. It's like kind of puts it in perspective. Like, I'm not really worried about catching a few germs,
Well, my biggest issue is the theater I'm going to doesn't have reserved seating. So I'm hoping to God, like, I don't have to go to like the front row and like break my neck and watch it like that. 'Cause that would be.
Yeah, that may be a problem for me.
That will suck, but
you remember that High Council where they were talking about that guy that likes to go and sit in the front row and stare at. So that's what you should do, 3PO. Yeah.
Yeah, turn around and stare at all the kids.
But when you do it, you should go turn around.
Yeah, I know. I'll film
make a difference. Actually, you should bring a copy of Captain Whammon to El Salvador when you finally have a theater annex, and then you can turn around and show all the niños and niñas.
It might be better in Spanish. I don't know. I should give it a shot. But
drunk. I was thinking.
I still have my Captain Whammon T-shirt that Angus blessed me to wear. Yeah. That is a blessing shirt. Epic. That's not a gift from a friend. It's a blessing. All right. So.
Because then you can go online and hang out in chats with underage girls and say how you're a feminist.
Right. I'll just
Talk
ask
about
my
your
friend.
dick.
I'll ask my
Yeah, I
friend
was-
Brian how what's his preference. So expert.
Yeah, I was thinking, you could make a really cool, like, low budget horror movie and put it on your channel. Maybe blow up like the Lights Out guy who did Shazam. Just bring your Captain Marvel shirt there, and like, it's like, you know what? It's helped. This whole Captain Marvel thing helped complete this thing, and even though it hates me, I'm gonna like put it behind me, and then you like bury it in El Salvador under like the foundation of the orphanage, and it turns out to be like some crazy horror story. The bad vibes of feminism have like woken the dead and stuff. Like, get it the fuck out of here,
They and it's funny in those in countries that in areas that have like extreme poverty, they end up getting the movies like on DVD for whatever reason. It's definitely bootlegged, but they have them. Like I'll go visit and they'll already have in-game on DVD. They paid $2. They paid $2 for it or something. Like it's really weird. So every time I'd go to Haiti, I'm like, like this is like one of the poorest countries in the Western Hemisphere. I go visit the girls' home that we worked in, and I'm like, they've got all like the movies that are in the theater. How is that possible? They're like, oh man, Eddie comes down and hooks us up. I'm just like, Eddie? Who's Eddie? I'm like, what the heck y'all
Eduardo.
talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like it's funny.
Well,
It's
and
funny.
seriously though, I've been following you for a while, 3PO. Obviously, we keep good company, Angus. But aside from all the joking, it's really fucking cool that you're going out there and helping out the kids. It's
Oh, I appreciate it, man. I
yeah.
appreciate it. I don't do it for praise or anything. It's just been it's just that we've been in a position to I've been in a position to do that, and I've always felt like I wanted to do it, and until everybody has these different seasons in life when they can and when they can't.
Mm.
Right now, I'm in the season of can, and I'll just keep going till I can't. It's just how it is. So
Well,
it's everybody's season of life, man.
I'll tell you a story real fast. My daughter actually is half Salvadorian.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so her great grandmother, like back in the '60s, was a single mother of five. Back at the time where women just didn't do that, and
yeah,
yeah, so she raised up all her kids. One of her children decided to leave to America because of the gangs and the wars. So she came to New York and blah blah blah. But it's crazy. A lot of people don't realize the history and the bloodshed in that country. And for you to go down there and do something positive is, it's like an after school special, touching kind of Full House moment. I feel like we should have swelling violins or something right now.
Well, it's the organ. I appreciate that. Again, I'm
Thank you.
not doing it for a pat on the back, but I'll take a compliment. But the after, and I hope I'm not hijacking your stream, Angus. So forgive me. But the once
no, you're fine. I'm still dealing with
one,
my son before bed, so.
no problem. Once El Salvador is finished, our next project is in Cambodia, and that'll be the next like youth center and stuff they want to build there, and so that'll be my next, and that's a little bit longer flight than El Salvador. So I've only been in El Salvador for 3 years. Most of my work was in Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and stuff like
Cleaning
that.
up after the Clintons.
Oh, dude, true story. There's a school, and sorry if you're a Clinton fan in the thing, forgive me. There was no way like I could vote for Hillary Clinton after I saw what she did to Haiti. I was in Haiti. The school where the children's home that the organization runs, the school was destroyed from the earthquake. All right, I've got pictures and everything. There's a big sign that said will be rebuilt by Clinton Foundation by they put a number on it like 2012, something like that, 2013. And so I show up, it's 2014, nothing's been done. The Haitian community took that sign and like they graffitied it up and they set it on fire, and they're just like, these people just stole our money. They said they came out one time and put this sign up and never came back. It was a huge billboard they put in front of the school. Will be rebuilt by the Clinton Foundation by this day. So the organization that I volunteer with, they were like, well, they need to go to school. So, we spent a whole year putting that school back together with the Haitian community. It's really cool. Like, it's like they hired people, local people, and they built the school back up. And I'm like, firsthand saw the Clinton Foundation not doing anything in that country. It's pretty sad.
The only thing they did was like take that money and stick it in their foundation, and
they did something with it. That's for sure.
With it.
I don't know where it was, but they did something with it.
Well, and I don't want to harp on negativity too much, so I wanted to ask the panel, who is your favorite Avenger and why?
I mean, if I had to pick an Avenger, overall, what got me into it, and he never really left. Besides maybe Iron Man 3, I'm like, done. But then they brought him back pretty well with Ultron and Infinity War. Iron Man has always been like the dude, because he's got the balance of like being smart, being cool and stuff. But he's just a guy in a suit. He's just like happy Batman, that gets laid a lot, and he likes AC/DC. So
yeah,
those are all pluses for me. But really, once they brought Thanos in, it's like, dude, just kill them all. Like I'm fine with that. Like I love Thanos as a villain. But with that said, the way Ragnarok progressed into Infinity War with Thor, I'm really on the Thor train. So then when they're saying like, "Oh, Captain Marvel's gonna be strongest," I'm like, "Who the hell is she?" Like we've seen Thor go through shit his power,
When Stan Lee always said the Hulk was the strongest.
Yeah, I mean Hulk makes the most sense because, well, I don't know. I like the way people complain like it's not like the comics, Hulk could kick his ass, at the beginning of Infinity War, and it's like sure, but I actually like what Kevin Feige's done with essentially using everything for blueprints, but writing his own comic line based. That's kind of like an homage to a lot of storylines, because if you actually had everyone as high powers there in the comics, like the story would never end, or Thanos could never be a challenge against World Breaker Hulk or Planet Hulk, any of that stuff. It gets too ridiculous, and so it seems like Iron Man is going to be gone in this, or be damaged, like and have to be like a Batman Beyond Bruce Wayne or something. They just now recently introduced like the nanotech suit and stuff when we think Downey Jr. is done with the roles. So they've kept everything pretty much in check or believable. And I always use Thor's example why I hate Superman in general is because he's so overpowered. He's just some alien. You look at Thor, and he's got all these checks and balances. So, but yeah, Drunk 3PO and Immortal, let's hear your favorites.
Man, there's no ifs, and or buts. It's Thor. It's always been Thor. I love Thor. I loved everything. I love the fact that he uses a hammer, and I think I do think they represented him well in the movies compared to the comics as far as his power goes. He especially in Infinity Wars when he like reactivated the sun and took the sun's blast
to make that axe. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, since he's like part god and all that stuff. Like I think they did a great representation. I love Black Panther too. I've always been I don't know. Black Panther was always a cool, mysterious person in the comic books, and I think they did a good job with Black Panther in Civil War, and
he married Storm. So if he married Halle Berry, fuck yeah.
Yeah. He's also, him and Adam are the only two people, and I think Nebula in the comics and Hulk that were able to wear the Infinity Gauntlet. So I don't know if that has anything to do with the movie. I'm not looking at the chat in case someone says yeah, it's in the movie. I'm looking away, and so if I'm not responding to anybody's questions in the chat, and you have
around.
Yeah, because I did a live stream earlier, and people were being jerks. They were like saying, "Oh, I saw it, and here's what happened." I'm like, mute. I don't want to know, even if they were just playing around. But Black Panther puts on the Infinity Gauntlet in the comics, and so does Hulk. And so I'm interested to see how like Hulk's gonna make a turnaround in the new movie because he got his butt handed to him, and now he's been in hiding. So, but Thor has always been I love Thor.
So we're drunk with Thor. Were you in the back of like the fandom where everyone else is like, yeah, Cap, yeah, I remember, and you like Thor from the first movie and going forward, and was everyone kind of looking at you like, what the hell do you see in this guy, or did you get flack for it all these years until Ragnarok, or how'd that go for you?
Yeah, Thor 2 was a dark place. I like Thor 2 because I like Thor the character, so I didn't mind it. I mean, it's not one that if it was on TV, I might watch. Ragnarok was awesome. I watched that multiple times. The first Thor I thought was great, but yeah, other people, the majority of my friends love Captain America, and Iron Man, the attitude of Iron Man, because I guess Iron Man matches up somewhat with Batman, and Batman is extremely popular, and so they have the same somewhat type personalities, being rich and a little cocky and things like that. So, but yeah, I
Well,
don't
I
know.
think
I just
Yeah,
Thor was just always my guy, and but see, I love the Punisher. The Punisher was my favorite comic book character because he was a guy that had no superpowers, and he was hanging with with Spider-Man and Daredevil. And I always thought that was really cool. Like, he was the underdog, but he could hang with like Spider-Man and Daredevil, like when they got into fights and stuff. So my comic book collection is filled with Punisher stuff. So like, but he's not in this. He's not an Avenger or anything like that. And I love the series on Netflix, and hopefully it'll move over to Disney Plus so they can continue it, because I thought they did a good job with that. But
yeah,
yeah, I'm with you, Angus. Exactly. Like, people are like, "Why are you like Thor? How come? Why don't you like?" It's like, Thor's awesome.
yeah. It's
And
funny. I don't know if I've told you or if you've heard this, but I'm from Oklahoma. I'm from a small town in Oklahoma. So to find a comic store, you got to drive at least an hour away somewhere with like somewhere it's got like a super Walmart and maybe a mall and stuff. It's kind of a measure. So when I got in the army, you got all these California people that complain about, I gotta drive 30 minutes to go to a mall. It's like, that's lucky. I gotta go like an hour.
dude, I walk 10 miles to fucking work. Those guys need to suck a tit. Excuse my face.
no, bro. No.
Idea that, okay, these characters are a series or something, but it never translates. I never saw it. I never had an idea really. But I was a big Batman animated fan, and Forever, and Batman and Robin fan, because those were really geared to kids. The flashiness and stuff, the goofiness, and when I I saw Iron Man when it came on DVD, I loved it. Watched it all the time. Had this big poster of him with the tank behind him and stuff, and didn't see Captain America or Incredible Hulk. And then Thor came out, and I remember it was like right when I was like 17, 18. It's kind of emancipated, but grew up with a very sheltering mom. So I walked like a mile or so away to this theater in Oklahoma City by myself. And I just sat down and watched Thor. And it wasn't until I saw Avengers before I went to the Army that year in 2012 that I realized, oh, this is like, they're all connected. Holy crap, this is cool, And looking back, it's funny, but yeah, it's fun. I've read the Silver Surfer part, the Thanos quest, the Infinity Gauntlet so far for the series to try to get any idea or understand the background of this story. I've read a few comics. The only Punisher I've read is 1 or 2 volumes of Max, which I really like because Garth Ennis did a really good story. But yeah, I don't know. It's fun. It's fun where we've gone, and especially getting criticism and stuff, and seeing how well they're able to manage Marvel, which has so many different storylines to pull from and to readapt and all this, as opposed to Star Wars is just one story. You just got to write one story that flows well, and they can't. It's just like, God, we need to find our Kevin Feige for Star Wars. So,
Dude, Star Wars is turning into like Friday the 13th. How like the first couple ones are super good, and then like it just gets like stupider. And I'm only speaking of the sequel. Okay, like in my head, 1 through 6 are gold, but geez, we're in a bad spot. Well, anyway, So for my answer to my own question, I think that while Thor is probably the most likable character, because of the reasons that you gentlemen have preferred, and Captain Marvel is probably the most honorable, ethic wise and moral wise. I have to say my favorite Avenger is Vision, and
Oh,
it's
nice.
yeah, and it's because of the third eye shit. I'm like super into metaphysics and all that kind of stuff, and the fact that he's Jarvis incarnate and incredibly moral, is just awesome to my mind. Unfortunately, he got Thanos, so I hope he comes back.
Yeah. No, what's weird is I actually really liked. I mean, I'm a bad guy. I love the bad guy. So I loved Ultron. I know people really hate him, and yeah, his plot, his drive is generic, but I liked the little intricacies that they wrote into him. Like, I thought it was pretty clever to use Ultron. This guy doesn't like to be controlled because he's a creation. Uh, Using Pinocchio references multiple times and puppet references. I thought that was pretty clever of Disney. It wasn't just like, haha, we own this and that. Yeah. It was like, that's pretty well written. So like the character, I thought he was pretty well written overall. Just his motive was so generic.
Well, but I like how they gave him like a black Tony Stark kind of personality.
Yeah. And what was cool, I of course, I was hoping he would get the Vision body and be like ultimate form, but of course he didn't. And I really liked Vision in that first movie, and then Civil War, they kind of pulled this kind of Bane and Talia thing, like in Dark Knight Rises, and I was like, I get he's a robot, and I get that they have this romance, Maury Reed of like X-Men and stuff, but
I was about to get into that, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I do hope if they keep Scarlet Witch going that they tie her in with her show, her and Vision, use that to bring in like the House of M storylines. That's a storyline I'm reading. It's my first X-Men, like just true X-Men story I'm reading, and I'm loving it. And I think you could readapt that whole her kind of Thanos snap effect to tie in the X-Men in a cool way, where it's like they're not here before, but you can kind of manipulate her power to be something of time warping, or maybe with Infinity or with Endgame they can bring back Quicksilver somehow in the timeline, so then he has that kind of flash ability with time travel to reset things. I don't know, but what I was going to say earlier, I kind of missed the point, was with Batman. Him and Iron Man, they definitely reflect their kind of polar opposites, but they're both so attractive. At least Iron Man on film now, and with the MCU and Disney being a thing, they've really given hey, do you like just a grounded character that has to use his mind and tech to to compete with people? And you got Batman, who is really.
Did the feds get him again? Shit. Well, let me take this opportunity. I think
let's thank our sponsors there, More. Who are we sponsored by today?
I think what beers did we shout out?
Yeah.
They need to pay us, man. So I always thought that while Tony Stark was never he never edited his personality, who he was outside of the suit and inside of the suit is the same guy.
Yeah, he wears
I feel
it,
like
honestly,
Bruce. Yeah, I feel like Bruce Wayne is closer to Batman, but he like puts on the darkness in order to fuck with criminals. But the Tony Starkish kind of personality is like his cover for Bruce Wayne. So he's out being Bruce Wayne, fucking around with Russian models, and and then at night he's like, okay, now I can take off that hat and be who I really am, which is this guy fueled by the death of my parents. And Martha was his mother. God rest her soul.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Micah Donovan, I'm not sure who you were addressing. He said, Feds got him, and why aren't you allowing super chats? If you're referring to me and my channel, I, of course, don't have a K, and I need 4,000 watch hours. So if you're trying to donate to me, you can go into the Streamlabs link in the description, or become a Patreon. a patron on Patreon, or buy some of my merch and get something in return for donating.
How's your watch time? How's your watch time, Angus?
Dude, I'm only at like 56%. So yeah, as much as even though I'm climbing, almost that 1K. It's it's like so that's why I kind of figured out. Part of it was just like realizing when I was at like 500 or 600 subs, like should probably start working on my watch time. And then I try to find a time slot, and then it's like, I can do it before the Senate, so it's the pre-Senate, and I can kind of make a play on that. But then Sis got whatever's going on with them in the background, so it's not really daisy chaining well as far as like, hey, you like this Fandom Collective member, you like this Fandom Collective member, we can watch them back to back, like a TV primetime schedule or something.
Two for the price of one.
Yeah, it's kind of the idea, and that's why I tell people like, the show roughly, but with him in his funk, I'll probably be more cognizant and not close until I know he's up. But yeah, I'm working on the watch time. That's why I kind of got the formula, and I know people like having like, hey, I got a set time, so even if I miss it, I know it should be up today, unless he says something on Twitter. But yeah, I'm working on the watch time as much as possible, and I made a new playlist if y'all want to help me.
I'm trying to get my watch time up. It's weird. My subscriber like skyrocketed, and I'm going, oh crap!
But no one's watching your.
My videos are like 2 minutes long. Like that, it was because like I read this thing about YouTube. They're like when you're getting started, you should keep your videos short because then that means people will come back and they'll be interested. Once the bigger you get, the longer they should stretch out because people will know you. You'll have your faithful audience that will watch your videos longer. So I kept them like 2 minutes, and 500 people watching a 2-minute video is not a lot of watch time. I'm grateful, but it's not a lot of watch time. So it's
Well, see, I heard 10 to 15 minutes.
They said that you shouldn't get up to 10 minutes until you get monetized because once your 10-minute video, then you could put 2 ads on your video instead of 1. Under 10 minutes, they can only put 1. So, but people that don't know you, unless you're like Robot Head and put together mini movies that you could watch, like,
Robot Head is amazing.
You're just looking at my face. Honestly, no one really wants to stare at my face for 10 minutes. I mean, I get it.
Honestly, no homo. You got a appealing.
And he goes out right before he's about to give me an awesome comment.
No, and that's when he was going to go homo, man.
No. Mr. Pete said he's got a face for radio and a voice for. And it's like 3PO doesn't have that problem. He's got, he's from Florida, so he's got like a slight draw it's appealing. It's like that southern charm, but not like, well, howdy, man, let's go get
it. I try
got the Everlast voice.
I figure I just keep it like that's gonna be my shtick. So it'll be like a little like whiny, and I clip up my little my videos so it looks like I'm like I'm just saying one long sentence. So sometimes that takes forever. To just trim it up so there's no like.
Dude, editing takes for fucking ever.
1 second dead time.
Real quick though, I want to shift topic a little bit. We can get back on any of this stuff, but I recently saw because Drunk brought to my attention. I'm like, oh, okay, a beef between you and Josiah. And so I finally created a 4-minute video. Enjoy after this if you want. Please do. I think it's actually funny, and I need the watch time. But I was wanting to get your take. I don't know if Immortal has seen it, but Drunk, what did you think of the harassment in the Fandom Menace video?
Yeah, Josiah's a jerk, and if I ever saw him in person, I'd slap him around. Because he's a little guy. That's how I feel about it.
Well, how tall are you, 3PO? What's your weight?
6'4". I'm 6'4", 260. And I played football, so I'm not...
so you could beat up Glass Joe and,
It's not belly weight, man. I'm a big dude. I lift weights, and that's why if you ever see a live stream, people throw $1 bills because they want to see my calf muscles. It's kind of embarrassing, but
I've actually heard this calf rumor of yours. You should probably like screen share and show us your calves just to. make the panties damp.
Donate $5 to Angus, and maybe we'll do that on.
Oh, yeah, maybe
You heard that, people. Lick that like button. Get the $5, and you'll see some 3PO calves. You heard it here first.
It's weird. Like every time I go on a live stream with someone with super chats, I see the dollar bills coming in, and I'm going, "Oh God!" And like Josiah was like, "Wow, that's weird. Someone's giving dollar bills," and I'm like, "Dude, I know what that is. Like, ignore it. Just ignore it." And it's like, what is
the
it?
the large muscle heads of the calf are called the gastrocnemius. So you should get 4 little dollar signs on each of them, and then that way you have street cred, but you're also able to like show why. We should.
Don't send Angus $5 because I'm not showing the cast tonight, but maybe tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, you'll get a dick pic. Don't do that. That's a trap.
Yeah, no, I'm not showing it, but it's oh my God, it's funny. No, the video was fantastic. The video was fantastic. You know, I sent Josiah a DM. I sent him a private message like, dude, did you see Angus' video? And he's like, do people think we're really mad at each other? And I'm like, yeah, let them think that. It's awesome. And so so he's like, all right, I gotta check it out. So me and Josiah are in a race for 4K. We'll see who gets to 4,000 subscribers first. He's got a little leg up, and yes, Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers helps him. That's okay. I love underdog things. I'm gonna have a couple videos coming pretty soon. I want to get through Endgame, and I will never show a picture of my hog. Don't worry, people. Everyone in the chat is like, "Don't send hog pics." I will not do that to anybody's channel, so don't worry.
No, just send a pic of a actual 3PO's cod piece. Because he doesn't really have a dick. He's not.
Oh man, there's a photo out with 3PO. It's like, yeah.
Oh, he got with the plaster casters? Is that?
Yeah, pretty funny. Pretty funny. But yeah, so the video was awesome, Angus. You do such a great job with those things. And I learned of this skill back with Captain Marvel. And that video you did with me with Captain Marvel that's still my favorite one. Not because it's me, it's because like you use like clips from different videos to put together sentences, and I'm like, this is such a genius. Like the Josiah one, you just took our Twitter feud and went back and forth, which I thought was funny. And then the proper Jeremy Lethal Lightning was like, wow, you pushed the limits for that one. Especially when you said butt juice, I was like, whoa. Did you see this one, Immortal? Did you see the butt juice video?
I try to stay away from butt juice, but
no, what it was
regale me.
proper Jeremy and Lethal. They were having a back and forth at like 2 a.m. That was started on the stream I was on, like watching Josiah with like Geeks and Ears, Nerdrotic and company. And something came up in the chat about a Chad, or calling Jeremy a Chad, or someone a Chad or a virgin. And they're like, wait, what does that mean? So they're looking it up. So they're talking about that. Proper Jeremy and Lethal were back and forth, essentially saying a Chad is me and a virgin is him. And so then it got to video. So then I just utilized my knowledge and I saved all their videos. And
you heard it here first. His knowledge of butt juice. That's all I'm saying.
Oh.
Okay. No. The knowledge of the stream interaction, to be clear. And yeah, I came with the butt juice just because he insinuated something was a toy. And he's like, well, now we're not going to play with it anymore. Then he drinks out. I'm like, wait a minute.
That was hilarious, dude.
You just played yourself.
Do you guys watch Futurama? Do you remember Slurm?
Yeah.
That's butt juice.
Yeah, Drunk, I don't know if I told you this or if you know that much, but like I really don't like comedies that people like in general. I like odd humor, so like The Office. I'm in love with that show. I've watched it like 4 times, going on 5.
The Office is good.
It's really rare for me to find a show, much less a comedy I enjoy, like Christmas Story, all these classics people love, Spaceballs, Ghostbusters. I come into them knowing they're critically acclaimed, well beloved, and then I watch it for the first time. I'm like, what the hell do y'all like out of this shit? You know, like I'm so. Just
Do you want to?
like,
Do you want to hear a funny story, Angus? Have you seen Dewey Cox? Walk
dude,
Hard.
Walk Hard. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
movie.
yeah. So I'll tell you a funny story. So I was talking to C3PO about how well let's say this. I was with a woman and we were in a hotel on the beach side in a romantic setting. We were trying to do adult things and Walk Hard was on the TV. And every time I try to do the thing that I know how to do well, both of us would start laughing, and we had to coitus interruptus because of Dewey Cox.
Yeah.
Fuck you, you fucking cock blocker, man. Jesus.
That's hilarious. No, I love. That's a movie that I only watch the extended cut though, because once you see extended cut of Dewey Cox, you don't want to watch the theatrical cut. But no,
Well, especially if you're a music fan. I mean, there's so much like they wrap every fucking stupid music story into one yarn.
But like I was saying earlier with comedy, like something like Hot Rod, pretty much anything Will Ferrell, Dewey Cox, The Office, like that's my sense of humor, which most people don't have. So I never expected to ever get into comedy at all with YouTube. When I first got in touch with Rookie, he started making these skits to his Rookie test. I'm like, this is nice and all, but like, it's not my forte.
Angus, do you like Step Brothers?
Yeah.
Okay, like that's like my greatest. That's like the funniest movie in the whole world to me.
Starring.
Yeah. So like me and Exaggeration Nation, we go play golf, like because he lives right down the street. You know, like I could walk to his house, and we play golf on Saturdays, and all we do is quote that movie. You know, the whole time because it's just so stupidly funny.
Golf is such a slow game.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to do something to keep it. You know.
Yeah, you got to keep the back and forth.
Dig like Kobayashi. You just like say that, and it's just so funny.
And then you're like, I'm gonna go dig out my sand trap.
Yeah, I guess the one mainstream guy that at least for a time was beloved, Adam Sandler. I like his stuff. I'm not that big of a Billy Madison fan. Like I appreciate it. I get the humor, but it's a lot to get through for the bits that are funny to me. But like Happy Gilmore, Waterboy,
love Happy Gilmore and Waterboy. I could watch them over and over.
Yeah,
shampoo is better.
You know what's funny about 50 First Dates is my that came out a couple years after. So my stepdad worked for the highway department in Oklahoma, and a truck ran through their work site, and he was on a jackhammer, and he got like hit from a backhoe spinning around. So he had a traumatic brain injury, and his personality's kind of different. He's not like retarded or anything from it, but he's got like short-term memory loss somewhat, and again, like his personality's kind of different. And so like aside from just enjoying the chemistry of Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler and the comedy, I really appreciate some sense of realism and awareness of like without being like an SJW about it, with a disabled person, mentally disabled person to some capacity. So I really identify with that personally, seeing like my something lost in my parents' marriage from that injury and stuff. And so yeah, I really appreciate it, and I don't get how anyone can hate that movie. It's so well. I guess
Yeah, but see, like I think the first time my parents let me see a movie like by myself was, I think it was either like like one of the Naked Gun films. I was like really young, and I fell in love with that type of comedy. Like that
Charlie Sheen, man.
Yeah, I actually do. Even I need to sit down and watch them as an adult, but like just seeing clips of like I don't like the movie Airplane, but I appreciate.
That's where the Roger joke came from in Star Wars, you realize.
Oh no, I
And
didn't know that. I thought it was actually a military thing, but like his whole like, Shirley, you can't be serious. And he's
that
like,
was
"Oh, man,
Airplane.
don't call me
See, after
Shirley."
The Naked Gun, like I fell in love with Leslie Nielsen because anyone that could keep a straight face like that,
Yeah.
like saying those things, I was like the
Yeah.
guy. So like as I got older, I was like, let me look up Leslie Nielsen, and then I found the movie Airplane, and I was like, holy crap, the Airplane is hilarious. Like it's older, it was out, but it was like the opening scene to Airplane. They have the Jaws theme, and the freaking wing of a plane is like going through the clouds like Jaws music. I was like, this is like so creative compared to like
Yeah.
the slapsticks like they make, like the parody spoof movies they make today are really dumb. Like they're not funny compared to like the Naked Gun series. I mean, I might get a lot of crap for this. I did like Ace Ventura. I don't know why. I must have been like
Yeah, Ace
drunk
Ventura.
when Ace
Mm.
Ventura came out because I thought that was hilarious. The first one with like Dan Marino, I guess because I'm from Miami's my home, but um, Dan Marino was in that film, so he had to watch it. But then like Dumb and Dumber came out, and I was like, that's the funniest movie I've seen in a long time.
Well, one of my favorite memes, 3PO, is Deadpool with the mask. And like he's about to put it on, and you're just like, oh shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
Oh, like people are doing like Ace Ventura quotes in the in the chat. Yeah, laces out, Miss Captain Wiki.
Dude, hey, you know what's funny? 3PO is until I would say maybe I was 20 or so, I never actually sat down and watched Ace Ventura like on the disc. And so I only saw it on TV. And so then I watched it unedited, and it's like the whole hemorrhoids joke is in the unedited, It's like, oh, that's hilarious. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I
everyone's
think
like,
that movie. See, that movie's gonna get banned because
yeah,
it
it's
is
transphobic.
like the most Ace Ventura. The first one is like the most white male, whatever they want to call it. Like they make fun of. What do they make fun of that movie? Homophobes? Not homo, but like
Transphobes.
yeah,
Transgender.
trans. Like the guy
Yeah,
turned
because
into a girl,
he had this thing tucked.
and then she
Yeah.
kissed him, and like he's like, oh, it's the most disgusting thing in the whole world. Remember, he's like naked in the bathroom, like trying to like pump out
He
his
spent like $1 million like cleaning out his face. Yeah.
yeah, had a plunger on his face, like trying to suck out because he
Dude,
kissed a
what's
man.
funny?
Trying to suck out the gay. You
Yeah,
can't suck out the gay with a plunger. That doesn't work.
Yeah, man, I had a funny story. I'm not gonna sit here because drunks. I don't want drunk to be associated with too much foul language and
no, man,
and
go ahead.
stories.
It's just
No,
me
no,
that
no,
won't.
no, no. It's
No, blame it on me. I'm the one saying fuck words. So
Yeah,
drunk,
No.
you're innocent. Black Angus, you're innocent.
no.
Everybody else,
Yeah. No, it's just
my fault.
thinking back to like the whole. Oh no! Like everyone's like, oh god, am I gay? And it's like, I wonder if this, because like the way things transpired, it's like I would love to find this guy and talk to him and be like, hey, yeah, whatever happened there after that? 'Cause you like ran away, but you didn't at the moment. It'd just be funny.
oh
to me.
man, the chat is saying Mel Brooks films would be banned. The Blazing Saddles movie, if they tried to
Dude.
release Blazing Saddles today, like Mel Brooks would be. I mean, he'd be assassinated.
Well, I don't
Like
know. Was that you, 3PO, who was talking about Dumbo earlier, or was that
no, it wasn't me.
Jeremy?
That was the bullshitters yesterday.
That was the bullshitters. Thank
Yeah.
you. So Jeff made a very valid point that it's easy to try to edit history when it's inconvenient for the audience that the editors are trying to procure, but history nevertheless exists. And just because you go and knock down those Confederate statues doesn't mean that the Confederacy never existed.
Yeah. I see that was kind of the anyone's seen it in this chat, but besides Immoral, no more seen it. But I did a video like a month or two ago about John Wayne and the controversy that came out of nowhere about his 71 yeah, like that was stuff I was talking about. It's like, this outrage culture, it's like they've are historical monuments, and I totally understand the argument in that these weren't made to revere Southern generals or people of note, right after the war, it was put up by the Klan mostly, and so it's like, okay, I get that argument, but the accepted it, so it wasn't like, you know, we're fine with those despite whatever origin it had. And it's like, if people are willing to destroy historical monuments, what makes you go after, say, John Wayne and his family for all the generational wealth they have and blah blah blah, these buzzwords, because he was, you know, he's deemed racist or what have you. And people weren't even looking at the context. Like, the dude was married to 2 Latino women. You know, as you look at like the pecking order, especially right now with illegal immigration being an argument, Mexicans are definitely like below black people. Okay, so his attitude about black people, whatever, it's like, well, he lay with Latinas. So just take into context, you know, that's the whole argument it's having, and it's just getting weird. People trying to like erase history and stuff. It's inconvenient. If anything, you should just point out like, yeah, this is where we've come from. Now we're better. It's like, you're always going to have to edit history at that point. If you give in once, you're going to have to do it repeatedly. You know, something that's fine today is going to be super transphobic or whatever phobic in 10 years. You know, it never ends.
Well, here's what's funny, man. Like, everybody wants to be lily white Christian, but if you read the actual fucking Bible, Jesus Christ hung out with like hookers and lepers. So yeah, you know, and he talked with Satan in the desert. So, you know, what are you actually saying when you make this argument? And I think that that's the press back point that all of the fandom menace in our different iterations are trying to make to people. It's like, think critically, think for yourself. Don't let media or whatever you consider the grown-ups to be to inform your opinion. Do your own research and make your own fucking facts, you know?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing for me is, yeah, you hit the nail on the head with the opinion. Like, have it. If you have an opinion, I'm not going to get offended by it. Like, that's the beauty of America, where I could say, you know, I like the color blue, and Angus could say that color, I don't like that color, I like red, and I'm not going to like unsub from him and like make up stuff about him that, you know, he's oppressing people that like blue. And how you see how silly that sounds? You know what I mean? But that's what
It sounds really fucking silly. Yeah.
but that's what they do for anything. You know, it's like, I didn't like Captain Marvel. Oh, well, screw you, hate women. Yeah, no, I don't. I love looking at women. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Dude,
And
you know
then
what
it's
this all
just like,
comes from?
Women are damn good looking too.
You know what this all comes
You
from?
know, if you're a woman
This
and you're
is-
listening,
This is the
we have a
evolution of,
lovely woman in the chat, Mary. Thanks for stopping by.
this is the evolution of like white guilt. You know, it started with just like white guilt. Now it's like generational wealth and so on and so on. It just keeps morphing to try to, I don't know, like, it's just weird. You know, it's this whole vendetta society, it's this whole reparation society where it's like, you're guilty for your tribe's sins, but then they never put the shoe on the other foot for their tribal sins, you know,
well,
historically.
that's called social engineering, Angus. There is a movement where they're trying to engineer the next generation of number one, workers, but number two, voters. So if you were born between years X and Y, then we're going to put out this product and we're going to tell you this thing. And then if you're born between generations Y and Z, we're going to put out this product and tell you this and that. So it's always that two-step totalitarian kind of thing. And I'll take off my tinfoil hat now. Sorry about that.
I just I wanted to address the chat really quick. Orange Hat Reviews said the book It wouldn't be written today, wouldn't be accepted. Yeah, I've not read it, but I know about the like essentially a child orgy or what have you, that people are very put off by. But I guess I understand, like, you know, they go through this trauma, and like, you know, sex is a celebration of life. You know, it's and all the kids are like, you know, pubescent, I assume, in the story. So it makes sense, I guess. It's just like, I definitely understand feeling weird about it, but yeah, I don't know. I think I actually, Orange Chat. Now I think about, especially what I covered recently that I won't get into, but the way things are going politically now with the extreme left, I think they would accept it and add to it in a distasteful way for sure. So actually, I take that back. I think they would accept it, but they'd want more degeneracy added to it as opposed to just what it is already. Let's see. Anything else in the chat? We got Mary Mayhem, of course. Thank you all for being here. You're a great audience. Catch Your Still, of course, I found from the War Campaign chat. Micah Donovan. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm not a Mel Brooks fan. Like his comedy, it just doesn't work. But I can appreciate it though. So don't just jump on me right away, because I watched Blazing Saddles recently, and I'm like, most of this isn't funny, but I love the like racist humor. I love the whole.
You should
like,
watch the Three
"What's that?
Amigos, man.
He's a blind."
Three Amigos
And they
is
keep trying to say,
awesome.
like, oh, he's a black
Yeah.
guy.
And they have a
Keep trying to say, oh, yeah, he's
dance.
a black guy. And the whole Jussie Smollett joke that people have used from that movie, of him holding himself hostage with his gun and stuff. It's like, I can, it makes me appreciate that stuff a little bit more. But yeah, use the Schwartz. No, I detest Spaceballs. That was the worst 2 hours of my life.
Really?
Yeah, I came into that like, oh right, this is a homage to Star Wars and some other sci-fi at the time. And then
You didn't like the suck part?
No, I watched the the intro with the ship where it just keeps going and going and going. I'm like,
That's an episode 4 joke. Okay.
Yeah, I kind of laughed.
No,
I kind of smirked at that. And then the rest of the movie, like my wife, she caught my attention, and I realized that my mouth was just open for like an hour straight. So I'm just like in shock that the movie is so funny, and I'm just like waiting for anything to laugh at.
No, that's cool.
It was an awful time.
Yeah, you do your own thing, man. That's why we're here.
Yeah, so that's why you can trust me though, as a reviewer. Is I would love to just say I love these movies, but I can't. That's my integrity, and so you can trust my opinion, because like no one's gonna want to come to someone and be like, this guy really hates Ghostbusters. This guy hates Spaceballs. Generally loved by both sides of the Star Wars fandom and just people in general. It doesn't make you popular to hate these movies. So,
well, I saw Spaceballs as a little kid, man. So like after coming off Return of the Jedi and you're a little kid and you watch, well, not that little, but little enough, you watch Spaceballs with my dad and my little brother. I guess it was a lot funnier then than if I would have watched it today.
Yeah,
but because I laughed at it really hard as a kid, I will relive that laughter memory as an adult.
Okay, this is the thing.
Does that make sense?
No,
that's when a 3PO Spaceball dropped.
I've wanted to make a video about this. It's very much like the NFL in a way, in the sense that, how would I put this? So like from the 70s and before, there was only a couple teams that would ever make like prime time frequently, like the Cowboys, the Steelers. It turned into the Niners in the 80s, but maybe the Browns too, because of legacy, and the Raiders. So that's why you have these giant, and the Packers. You have these giant fandoms for a few teams across the whole nation, because that's all people saw in prime time, because back then it's like there wasn't such a big market for it. And so they had to get the best they could on TV. And I feel it kind of translates the same with nostalgic film, where certain stuff, if you saw it as an adult now, you'd be like, whatever, you might forget it. But because you grew up with it, and that was like the only real cutting edge stuff of the time, it stands out so much. And when you look at something like Star Wars has the effect where it's like, yeah, it's the generational film that you can pass down through kids, but it's also a film you can show to newbies 30, 40 years after it's come out, and they'll be in shock, like, wow, it's so good because the age it is, for the effects, or the story is so well paced and written, blah blah blah. So I don't know, that's how I see feels like that really live off the nostalgia more so than merit, in my opinion. And that's not a bad thing. It's just how I see it.
Well, so then, Black Angus, I think you owe us in the audience, us in the panel, and in the audience, you owe us the ultimate comedic movie. What is Black Angus's choice?
I mean, if I had to pick, it definitely probably would be Walk Hard. I think it's perfect. I've watched everything I can about it. They made almost all their sets like at how would I say it?
The drug jokes got me. Like, he's like, you don't want no part of this. It makes sex even better.
People don't know this for Walk Hard, but it was Oscar nominated.
Oh yeah, and
it's critically well received. And the whole joke of the movie, it was more than just Ray Charles and Johnny Cash. It was making fun of like rock music biopics. And so they took all these tropes and they stuffed it in there. And then they wrote their own soundtrack with John C. Reilly that was, somewhat a mockery, but somewhat homage.
And then the hot chick from The Office was just like,
I got Pam in there.
Yeah.
Just everything about it's so funny. It's so rewatchable. But actually, no. My favorite comedy, School of Rock.
That's a great film.
That's pretty good.
Those kids touched me, and I touched them. That was a great. As a teacher, I'm like, you watch that and you go, yeah, you got to watch not saying that, like, ever. You never say those words in front of parents saying, man, I was touched by those kids. It's like you got to make sure like you use the right verbiage because it comes out like that was the best. To me, that was the funniest line because as a teacher, I could see myself making that mistake when kids graduate and you're like, oh, yeah, I remember the time when he touched me. Like, it was such a moving experience. You're like, oh, that didn't come out right. So when Jack Black said that, it was hilarious. I was dying.
When I watched it, like I was saying earlier, I watched it in theaters. It was fun at the time. I liked the music at the time, but it didn't like stick. It wasn't like memorable. But then once I got in high school and started playing guitar, I found it again because of Nacho Libre. And so it was like kind of on a Jack Black kick with both those movies. And I literally would watch that movie like every day for weeks on end. Whenever I had free time, even if it was only like part of the movie, I would like have it paused, wake up the next day, boom, School of Rock, this part, enjoying it, the soundtrack. So much of my knowledge of music with like classic bands from like the 80s and back is spawned from that movie. Like I didn't know who Yes was until I heard him suggest, and I looked up that album cover. I'm like, oh my god, Long Distance Runaround. This is amazing, And then I find all their other weird, trippy rock, and it's just a great. It's definitely near and dear to my soul, but it's really well written and paced for a comedy as well. And you definitely feel like people were just having a lot of fun with that movie. It doesn't feel like anything was like forced or unnatural. It just felt like being on set would probably be like really just a fun time all day, trying to like contain your laughter at your own jokes you're trying to sell on camera.
And can I ask you, 3PO, what is missing from the MCU that, from your comic books perspective, was added by the X-Men? And I'm sorry about the fucking motor noise.
The X-Men?
Yes, because the X-Men and the Avengers crossed over, and various components of the X-Men affected the Avengers. So, for example, Storm married T'Challa.
Yeah.
Wolverine trained the Black Widow and fought Nazis with Captain America. So, what's missing there? Or do you feel like anything's missing or anything?
No, I did. I will have to say I was a little nervous when Civil War movie came out because the Civil War series lasted, I think, almost 2 years. And it was really good. Like the Civil War comic book series. Like I ended up buying a bunch of graphic novels where they threw in like 30 of the comic books to make a giant book so you could catch up. Because like there was like it was like Captain America and the Iron Mans were like the main one, and Spider-Man were the main ones to talk about the Civil War. But then everybody had their own spin-off fights, So if you wanted to know what was going on and how come the Punisher ended up in the Captain America and how come the Punisher became Captain America for like, 7 comics and all this crazy stuff. So the Civil War really ignited my comic book love again to like read through the comic books. And that's when Captain America was assassinated at the end. The Steve Rogers was assassinated at the end of Civil War, and that was the end of it. And so when I was like, they came out with one movie, and the that's something they could have built like a big thing on. Like they could have done like 8 years of that if they wanted to, because then it's not villain fighting a good guy, it's good guys fighting good guys all the time.
Dude,
And which is really cool. So I think they did an excellent job with the Civil War movie, and then kind of building that through Infinity Wars and into now, and they come back together. So like, but there's so much great stories and stuff that they could have done. But I honestly think they did a great job with the characters that we have now in the Avengers for the movie series. For the movie series. Now that Disney owns the X-Men, and they said they're not going to do another X-Men film for like 7 years or something like that.
I think that's smart.
I don't know. They might, if they bring in all new actors, and then if Marvel's on phase 3, then maybe that's the big crossover. And but they did say they're going to pump out a bunch of Deadpool films while Ryan Reynolds is still technically young enough to do Deadpool, I guess. And
sure.
So I don't know how they could do a lot of stuff. I feel the next big villain is going to be the Beyonder, because Thanos is a pretty bad dude, and then the X-Men, like Fox kind of messed up Apocalypse, in my opinion. I thought that movie was really weak. And
see, I agree on. I've never read the Apocalypse comics or anything, so I don't know about his character. But yeah, Oscar Isaac was definitely underwhelming. I think miscast for that role. Along with the design compared to the comic. But I actually really loved that movie. I remember me and my wife saw it, and I was just, because it was around the time Civil War came out. So it was like, oh man, Civil War for my wife's birthday. And then a couple weeks later, boom, we see X-Men Apocalypse. And I read the reviews and stuff where it's like, oh, they keep doing the Magneto and this and that and blah, blah. And I love that movie, honestly. But
which one?
Apocalypse.
Yeah, I didn't like, but see, the Apocalypse, the character was like, he can be like more powerful than like Thanos.
Yeah, no,
and he never dies. He's immortal. So like, in order for them to stop him, they have to encase him, in like a prison that gets launched far, far away.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I had beef with that film. Like, I was just kind of like, dang, Apocalypse is like, he's like the baddest dude, and they just they beat him really quick. So,
yeah, no, I definitely agree that he was weak, like I said, but just the way they started building up this new potential cast before the Fox Disney deal, they started building like Sophie Turner and new Cyclops and young Nightcrawler and everyone. It's like, I could see them really pumping these out for a long time. And I don't know, like, as much as I love the MCU, I like the X-Men and the Snyderverse at the time more in a certain way, because maybe they're not as like entertaining or like blockbustery throughout, but I feel like
but what was the X-Men movie where Wolverine goes back in time? That one was
Days of Future Past.
That was my favorite, because they got oh god, what are those creatures that they were fighting?
The Sentinels.
Yes, they got them perfectly in that film. That's how powerful those things are. Like, they can't be stopped. Like they just can't be stopped. But
when they ripped Colossus in half, I was like, oh my god, this is about to get bad, Yeah, I really liked the X-Men series and the Snyderverse before Justice League, because they're doing something darker. They weren't just being safe and just pumping out like an IP. But as good as Marvel has been, there is a lot of like just generic feel to it, where it's like, this is safe, It's like they limit themselves, definitely. Like I doubt Disney, unless they took over, unless they, I'm trying to think where they would put it because of the streaming thing, because they want the streaming thing to be like PG-13 and under. So they definitely wouldn't do like the Punisher show or Daredevil show the way it was on Netflix, or do like a really good Punisher Max series like I'd like.
Can I address the chat, Angus, before?
Yeah,
I know you gotta go. I know you gotta go soon.
So, no, I'm on my phone, so I'm staying closer to the routers because, yeah. So,
Let's
Go ahead.
see. The Orange High Review says I had no problem with Apocalypse because I knew the Fox movies would suffer, but it wasn't meant as bad people. Okay, I get that. Right, I get you. The Quicksilver scene was amazing. Totally agree. Truth, Apocalypse, and I think the MCU stole that type of idea for those quick scenes. Comic Book Bob says I call BS on 7 Years from the X-Men. Hey man, I'm only quoting what Disney said, so I don't know for sure.
Hey, real quick, that's what I wanted to address. So I said when I first got Josiah on the chat with General Qatar and Flipped Out, and he agreed. I said, dude, with the way Disney's going, if they don't get checked by the box office returns, one, they got a hold off on the X-Men just because of Dark Phoenix 2019 release. Also, Wolverine is the most iconic X-Men, especially for the film series.
Damn straight.
Hugh Jackman just left in 2017, so I was like, you got to hold off at least 5 years. And with Captain Marvel being here, her teasing a female Avengers movie and stuff, the A-Force adaptation, expect them to bring in SJW version X-23 before Wolverine. They'll tie Wolverine in later when they adapt the X-Men. Mark my words.
I think money talks, man. If they're pumping out stuff and it's making billions of dollars, they'll take their time. But if like something starts to fail, they'll slow down and like try to recook something else up.
Well, even if they don't go SJW, or if like the stuff they're trying to do with like Captain Marvel and Tessa Thompson and female Thor and all this stuff is SJWisms. Even if that doesn't work, they never learn, dude. So they'll keep it in their back pocket. Maybe like, all right, maybe if we wait another 5 years for ex-president to leave and the social climate to change, they'll put it in their back pocket. So I still think anything to do SJW version, they'll bring an X-23 and have for there to meddle with however they want. If they think they can, kind of like the Avengers, they've done 10 years, then all of a sudden it's like, hey, Captain Marvel, we're changing things. Get with it or get out, And,
well, I guess we're going to have to stay tuned to Black Angus's channel for future Mike Zero content.
I'm with that.
No,
I'm
funny.
with that.
It's just, I really feel that they'll either do the SJW stuff with the X-Men or have it set up to fool you, then sneak it in the last like phase or something.
I mean, they have a lot to work with. I mean, oh my gosh, all they got to do is just go to the comic books. There's amazing stories, and there's a lot of cool characters that haven't even like dressed. Like I love Gambit. Someone mentioned Gambit in the chat. Like he's a freaking awesome.
He's a fucking powerhouse, man.
Yeah,
I'll tell you
Gambit movies and like trilogies and stuff would be awesome. They could do all kinds of things. They could do trilogies with just like three characters as they go out on a mission or something. I mean, and then there's so much they can do if they wanted to. That's all I'm saying. So,
well, the ultimate conclusion that I can come to, 3PO, is if X-Men and Avengers somehow crossed over, I wish to God that Rogue would go to Carol Danvers and you know what I'm going to say.
Brother. Fingers crossed, brother.
Yeah. I don't even have to speak the truth.
It's funny. There's this picture going around on Twitter of Thanos like smashing Carol's head and saying like, "You'll listen to me" or something like that, and it's like potential spoilers or something. It's like, please, That's my fingers crossed moment.
Never know. Well, Rogue does take over Captain Marvel's
in continuity, but like we don't know if we're gonna get that, but maybe we will, because these are all women we're talking about. So maybe we'll have some woke Rogue.
Well,
no,
I mean,
think it's gonna
go to definitely bring
Monica.
the Phoenix over. Phoenix is like Phoenix can just wipe out everybody. So
she really could. She really could.
Oh,
I don't think. Ah, jeez. Speculation is endless, isn't it? What do you think, chat? Why don't you fucking tell us what we should?
No, but yeah, there's so many different possibilities. Reading the chat now, like Scarlet Witch could send Captain Marvel to an alternate universe. Um, yeah, I mean, it's just there's a lot they could do. There's a lot they could do. So I really want, like, I would love a Punisher like trilogy. Like I love the actor that plays the Punisher on Netflix. I think he would do great in like a serious hard R, Deadpool type trilogy, on one of his
Like where he can
adventures.
just waste bodies and not give
Yeah,
a
like
fuck.
like
And,
let Lions
yeah,
Film do it, and make it
yeah.
like a Saw film and just let it be blood and guts. And his little origin story with Jigsaw was in the comics was really cool because like Punisher was sent into prison and he breaks out, and Jigsaw was in jail, and like there's a whole like short series that the Punisher had. Was a great series.
Hey,
Well, I
So and then
always
hey,
wondered.
Drunk.
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
What I was gonna ask you, what did you think of Thomas Jane's Punisher movie?
I didn't mind it. It was it. I didn't mind it, but when I think of the Punisher, I think of like let the bodies hit the floor, and like that's what I think of the Punisher. I think it's like Rambo on crack. I mean, like that's just
Well,
what I think the Punisher is.
Yeah, that
And they
sort of
threw in a couple characters.
PTSD, and you
Yeah,
fucked with my family.
yeah. They threw in the Russian in that film, and they threw in the guy from Tampa, and I'm like, okay, those were technically characters that he went after, but the series, like the Jigsaw and stuff, were like real serious. Like those are like his nemesis. But in the comics, man, him and he goes after Kingpin a lot, and he tries to kill Kingpin and Daredevil. Like they fight all the time, and Spider-Man gets involved sometimes. So, but normally when he goes after killing people, it's a freaking massacre. They had a Punisher video game come out like 10 years ago, which was like one of the truest. It was like he literally like put people in shark tanks and waited for the sharks to like bite their heads off, and that's how he like dealt with his pain. So he's like, this is like these guys are drug dealers, so I'm just gonna make them pay. And it was like a tortured death type thing.
ooh,
So
hey, Drunk,
go.
real quick. With season 2, I haven't watched it because from the get go, I heard that there's like this kind of woke undertone, and the villain's like a white Christian fundamentalist male. And so I was like, oh god, they've already infected Punisher. And I heard there's like little things of like, don't tell me to smile and stuff. I'm like, yep, I'm out. But I was going to ask you, how was Punisher season 2 if you've seen it? Because
I liked
figured
it
you
better
would
than
have.
the first one.
Really? Okay. So,
Yeah, the Christian guy in charge is more. It doesn't play on that hard. I mean, he's like he's just one of the bad guys that he's got to go after. Jigsaw's the main character, so like the Christian guy's just kind of like an extra.
okay.
And he doesn't play like a woke preacher. I mean, it's like he's battling his own demons. So I like the film. I mean, there's a lot more blood and guts in that film. There's a lot more like getting at it, which I loved. And yeah, there's a couple of those cringe moment scenes, but it compared to the overall project, I was really pissed off when they like canceled it right when it was over. But I figure that's because Disney's taken all their characters.
Yeah. Well, it's
Like,
funny. Um, now I'm thinking about, and I'll get to this point in a minute. I'm actually surprised you aren't a fan of Batman because you seem to really love Punisher. And what's funny about that, from my perspective, one of the shortcomings I would say for me with the Punisher show, especially as an extension from Daredevil, was that even if it's like completely the same as far as like brooding over a thing, Batman and Punisher, they both have like this trauma with family that inspires their course of action. But for some reason, Batman, it makes sense because like I don't know, I feel like he has some sort of like Phoenix ideal in his head of like, this is what I'm going for, as opposed to Punisher is just like this Grim Reaper, and he just like keeps brooding. And I've seen comics where like he gets with chicks or has like a girlfriend or what have you, or like that kind of gets that void in his life kind of gets filled to some degree. And I don't know.
That's a great cross-examination because they both had the family kind of thing that
I
got
just feel that
destroyed.
Punisher in the show, like that one event, as bad as it is, it's like most guys, no matter how traumatic, I think would at some point, move on to some degree and maybe try to fill a void in some way to commemorate the memory of those they lost before, where it's like, well, my dead wife would want me to just keep brooding and slaughtering people without having anything to like live for besides their memory. Like, it's like most guys would see their spouse as a memory and be like, I want to do the most in honor of their memory. So let me like, whether it's making a relationship or not, or just bringing the best for people. And I get that he has this like good motive with his like killing, destroying evil and stuff. That's cool and all, but I don't know. It just, for some reason, it doesn't work as a motive compared to Batman. And,
the Punisher, he many times in the comics he wants to die. So he has that mentality of, I'm going to go in with everything I got, and
But he's
hopefully
a
I'll die at the end.
kamikaze. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, but he doesn't like stand there hoping to get shot. He like goes in and like, all right, whatever. And then anybody that gets in his way, he's gonna kill. Like he tried to kill Daredevil multiple times, and even Spider-Man a few times as well. Spider-Man in the comics stopped him from like killing like multiple people, Kingpin and all that, and then Spider-Man like convinced him to like use these bullets. Oh God, what were they called? They were bullets that like you get shot, you get knocked unconscious, but you didn't die. And oh my gosh, how could I forget those? So he used those for a little while in the comics, So I guess they made the comics more child friendly for like the 90s. So he used these bullets that just shot people, that knocked them unconscious and didn't kill them. And it was pretty. It is what it is, but yeah, I think your comparisons are spot on. So
yeah.
Oh, they weren't rubber
No,
bullets,
I remember
Micah. They were called something. They were called Mercy bullets or something like that. There was his own brand. But yeah, I guess they were a type of rubber bullet. But Spider-Man kept making it for him. Because he's like, I'm not gonna make these. In the comic book, I'm reading the comics. He's like, I'm not gonna make these. And Spider-Man's like, I'll make them for you. Just don't kill anybody else.
You said bullets, and it made me think of my Forrest Gump trailer.
Oh yeah,
Forrest Gump, like it was a bullet right in the buttock.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, we're gonna close out because I gotta go head over to Mary's. We've dipped over a little bit. I expected that. Don't feel bad, chat or drunk, but chat, definitely head over to Mary's once we're completely done. Immortal Coil and Drunk 3PO's links are in the description. They are part of like my routine upload in the description.
Thank you, sir.
Click on the link and sub to them both if you haven't, especially Immortal Coil. Hopefully Friday morning or afternoon we'll have a Immortal Coil video uploaded on my channel, so you get more of a taste of them. If you follow me, really like Immortal Coil, and I'm wanting them to get past 100 and beyond. I want them to get it to my level. He's been a trooper working on his content, and that's why I wanted him on here. So maybe the Draw of Drunk 3PO would give him some more exposure on the channel.
You're too kind.
No, yeah, I'm really behind Immortal. It's like, oh, come on, let's get him up there because he's got something to say compared to other people just
I love it.
Just doing stupid shit. So
well, once I get to the summer, I want to have a lot of these other YouTubers on my channel too, to give them a different voice with a bunch of different subscribers. Not that I'm like big time, but I crossed the 2,000 mark. But I need everyone in the chat to do one thing for me tonight. Before you go to bed, can you go to my channel and just hit play all videos and just let that play while you sleep? I really want to hit this 100 hours like tomorrow, so I can stop worrying about it to fulfill my 4,000 hours of watch time. That would be wonderful. Just do it once. That would be wonderful. So
yeah, and I'll say the same for myself. I actually made a more concise playlist. I have a playlist because like for me, I'm someone who loves to go through people's content
Julia
history-wise,
D2.
and so there's a playlist of all the live streams I've been on of Merit where I actually contribute in any way. So you can see my progression from starting with Rookie Critic and now where we've gone currently. But I made one just for my channel's live streams. If you can go on that, it's about 24 videos. If you could play those in the background, help me fill up this 50% watch time I need to complete trying to get monetized. And yeah, I really appreciate y'all coming. Definitely head over to Mary's if you have it. And again, if you want to help support me, there's the ways to donate or become a Patreon or buy merch. Thank you for coming. I'm actually going to close out really quick and go back in my office. And I'll see you all on Mary's channel.
Thank you.